We have attempted to measure that by end of course testing, correct?
That's correct, since the early nineties.
Right. And, so is Common Core going to take the place of end of course testing, or will it be in addition to, or what?
Okay. The Common Core just identifies what students should know and be able to do. In some states, they do not have end of course testing. And I'm using that as an example because that is a decision of the General Assembly as to whether we have end of course testing. We have used the Common Core standards in mathematics and English language arts this past school year. And because the General Assembly and the State Board have a policy that we are to assess the reading skills of students in grades 3 through 8 and the mathematics skills of students in 3 through 8, and that we must have a biology, an English 10, and an algebra exam. We have given for the first time end of grade and end of course tests based on the new standards. Now, biology is not a part of the Common Core, but the other tests that I just mentioned, grades 3 through 8 in reading and mathematics, were assessed this past year. And the General Assembly, unless they do something that will surprise the world, will pass a budget bill today or tomorrow, and in that bill, the General Assembly has directed us to grade each school an A, excuse me, an A, B, C, D, F, based on the end of grade and end of course tests along with some other factors at the high school level, starting in August the 14th. So my point is that you can have the standards without having any end of grade and end of course testing. North Carolina, since the late 1800s, has had a standard course of study. And these Common Core standards are a part of that Common Core, a part of career, college, and citizenship ready standard course of study.
Dr. Atkinson,
Yes.
before we move from this topic, I think a lot of us would like to understand, so section 9.2B, that will be in the state budget passed today. I'm talking about the Common Core link wording. I can pass your copy, it will help. I mean, there's some confusion here in that we know that you have been mandated by the General Assembly in the past to move forward with a Common Core. Yet the new language, in effect, defunds without new legislation, at least proceeding with purchasing testing. So
Right.
if you can tell us how that would
Sure.
work, that would
Okay.
be great.
North Carolina has had a history of using the work of teachers and others to develop end of grade and end of course tests. There is a consortium called Smarter Balance, and Smarter Balance is developing end of grade and end of course items that can be used. The State Board of Education has not made a decision at all about whether to purchase any, some, or all from that consortium called Smarter Balance. And so this legislation that is in the book, in the budget book, says that the state of North Carolina cannot purchase from Smarter Balance without the enactment of legislation to authorize the purchase. So, and as a staff, as we look at costs, because, hi, you must be Whitney.
That's me.
Well, hello, Whitney.
Hello.
The State Board of Education, even without this legislation, has not made a choice yet about whether to purchase any of the items, or even to ask the General Assembly, with this legislation being passed, as to whether we would use Smarter Balance. We made a commitment, the state gave us money so that every child, every junior in the state could take ACT, which is similar to SAT, I took SAT, didn't even know that ACT existed. I don't think it did exist when I was in high school. But, I mean, if you're shaking your head, you're about my age, so I'm sure you would know if you would remember. But anyway, so, the decision has not been made, and we already have, because we gave them in this past school year, our teacher made tests, and then we field tested those 3 years ago. I think I've got that right. We gave them last year and we field tested them the year before that.
So the excuse me, I just keep
That's
following
okay.
it. So the Common Core exams that were given, from 8th grade up in North Carolina this
No,
past school year.
3 through 8, and then just 2, English 10 and algebra at the high school level. They're the
Now,
only ones.
those exams, who were they making? The ones that were given this past year?
Okay, I'll go back to your question. Those exams were developed by teachers in this state and by the help of North Carolina State University, area called TOPS. And they have been a partner in developing tests for end of grade and end of course since 1994 or 95. They were among the first partners. So what typically happens is that we bring teachers together. We will say, here are the standards. Like at 3rd grade, you have to memorize multiplication tables. That's one of the standards. So then the teachers would memorize multiplication tables, and then do a test item or test items that would test the students' learning about the multiplication tables. And so TOPS runs all of the statistical analysis. They work with us to do the statistical analysis to set the proficiency levels. And then we also bring in experts, teachers, and I love this word, and I hope I can say it, psychometricians, people who know a lot about statistics and testing, to set the scores, like what would be a proficiency level. Did that answer your question?
It did, yes, thank you.
All right,
Could you
those
spell
concerns.
that, can you spell that word